We're really pleased that DEFRA awarded the Wharf at Ilkley designated bathing status in December. And this is the area that we applied for using our Ordnance Survey grid references and a count of people paddling and playing. We applied for designation from the area from Brook Street Bridge, the beginning of that red arrow, all the way through to Beanlands Island. And we did it in two sections. We provided the count, photographs, and information about water quality for those sites. Now, what DEFRA does is it then asks the Environment Agency to choose a testing site based on where most people use the river. And as you can see, this is the point at which the sewage works is, and that's where the storm overflow is. That's where we get most of the pollution. That's the area where most of the young people from Ilkley paddle, play and swim. And this is the area that the Environment Agency has chosen to test. And if you go to the Environment Agency's website, they state that the designation at Ilkley is just that area in that small green circle. That's less than the 10th of the whole area that we apply for. And it's actually not where everybody uses the river. So as you can see, I'm going to show you some video in a minute, and we're going to walk the river from Brook Street Bridge down to the suspension footbridge, and we're going to show you the designation where people go and the signage. But at that green circle, we have this signage. So we have a little bit of information about the fact that it's unclassified, a map that's, I think, very poorly designed to show people where the sewage works are. I don't know if you can spot that. And that's in that green area. But if you go back to here, just to the right of that green area where the suspension footbridge is, that area to the right where the most of the sewage is poured into the river, we have no signage there at the moment. And the signage that we want there is this, because that's what you have down at the sea when there is contamination of the water by sewage at any time. So as soon as there's a problem, that's the signage that goes up. Now let's just move on, and I'm going to walk you down the river and show you what the problem is. Keep going. So this is the beginning of the area that we applied for designation for and were successful. And this is the way people come down to the river with their kids from the train or the car parks. And that beach is the first beach they get to, and that's where most of the kids paddle and play and swim. And if we, oh, hello. But there's no signs at all about water quality, because if we go down here, you can see that you can't even see the beginning of the bit that the Environment Agency has chosen as both a testing area, but the designation area is right down there, and I'll show you that in the next video. So that's where we were just now, and this is the stretch of river, and when it's low, all of this is lovely beach, and we've got lots of photographs in our bathing status application of families enjoying their picnics down here, and all the way up there, that's the riverside. There's Karen, that's the park, and people come down all the way down here and they picnic and play also up on the fields up there. But we still haven't reached the designation point yet, or the Environment Agency's designation point, but we are on the stretch that we applied for and were awarded. So hang on for the next video. So that's the CSO, combined sewage overflow, storm overflow, and there's the riverbank over there, and that's where, when it's very high rain, you get sewage coming straight out into the river, and the manholes pop, and the sewage comes straight from the manholes into the river too. That's not our biggest worry, but it's one of our worries, and that's upstream of the Environment Agency's testing area. But we've just been all the way down there, and we're halfway on our designation stretch, and we're heading down to the area that the EA has identified as its designation, but we're still not there. So here we go. Let's wander down here, and in the distance there, can you see there's a white sign, and that is the current sign, the only sign that there is designated bathing here at Ilkley. So a little bit inauspicious, really. But here we go. No one in the water today, of course, because it's a bit chilly. Right, around the corner here. So the designation on the EA website is called the Cromwell at Ilkley. And this is the area it covers. Just here. From this round area, round whirlpool, that's the Cromwell, and the beach over there, up to the bridge. And that's it. So of our 1 mile stretch, about 1/10 of it is counted on the EA website, but actually all the water that you can see here has come from where we've just walked from, so there's no reason really why the Environment Agency stretch couldn't be from here all the way up to where we started our walk. And here we are. If you were a bit short, you struggle to see this, but that's our sign. Not exactly informative. There's a map there, but I think if you didn't understand what a river or seam intersection or emergency or storm overflow or a treated works outfall was all about, you probably wouldn't be interested. Neither would you know particularly where we are now, except that there's a sampling location marked there. Can you see that there? A bit difficult to tell where all that is, isn't it, really? And it just says the sewage discharge further down, and that is down there. So past the footbridge is section 2 of our application, also awarded, and that's where the sewage works is, and the storm overflow discharge goes into the river. We'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so just there, that pinprick of white in the background is the back of that sign we've just seen, and this is the EA's testing area and their designation. But our application went all the way down there to the far distance. In fact, just where you can see a bend, that's Beanlands Island. That's where this area is where all the local kids go. And in nice weather, it's quite low water. There's beach all the way down here. Just about where that tree stump is sticking out is where the storm overflow discharge goes into the water. And then there's a big pool of sludge going right out to the water there. And that's what we want cleaned up. And that requires both testing and recognition that our application for designation meant that it really is designated. It's the bridge. And here is the second sign celebrating our designation, but as you can see, you can't see it, it's really high up, and that's no use to anyone really. And there's the rest of the designation. So I've just taken you for a walk down the river, and this is why in low flow, so when it hasn't rained, as you can see, that upstream of the sewage works, it's fine. You can paddle, play and swim. It's within the safe limits. 900 CFUs per 100 mil is minimum for safe bathing. And you can see we've got 100 to 350. So that's absolutely fine. But as you can see downstream of the sewage works, it's really, really polluted and it's really unsafe. But also when it rains, this is what happens. So, and when it rains, it is really not safe anywhere along this stretch. At the moment, our designation is only going to capture the upstream part of the sewage works, and we're trying to get the river cleaned up from pollution to the point at which the river is safe for both humans and safe for the environment. And that's what we're trying to achieve through designation. Where they're testing at the moment and the stretch they've included as designated, the Environment Agency and DEFRA, means that we're not going to secure the level of cleanup that we need at Ilkley to make this river safe for people, for visitors, for our youngsters, for local people to paddle, swim and play in the area that we have proved is used very considerably by the public. And that's what we're concerned about. When is designation? Designation.